Pastorpedia, meaning stuff for pastors and other church people, church leaders also. A pedia, an encyclopedia of ideas. We hope it helps. We're all fellow strugglers. In this area, crucial. If the church, somebody wrote this, if the church were taken out of your community, what difference would it make? Let's talk about the church and the community in which it lives. The church and its community. What difference should we make where we are as a church?
I really believe that in order to be a healthy church, you kind of have to be involved in your community, right? You're loving the needy, giving the compassion of grace, living the gospel out. And what happens is this, I think sometimes the needs of the community actually can be overwhelming. So it can be one or two things. We can look and say, we're just going to take care of these people that come to the church here, or the needs of the community are so overwhelming, we have no idea where to start. In Akron right now, it's the heroin epidemic. And so people say, well, what are we supposed to do? Nobody can figure it out. And I feel that angst too. I'm like, yeah, where do you even start? So we have this little saying, we say we can't do everything, so we do everything we can. And so we just look and say, this is our community. We're a part of the community. What can we do to be involved with it? And it's amazing when you step in like that and start wanting to be a facilitator or offering help. It's amazing how the community will draw right to you because they're also starved for that love and help as well. So it's a huge thing and a great way to start loving people. We definitely need to be outside of our doors.
Yeah, do something. Andy Stanley said it's a principle I think is phenomenal. I think it was a wise statement. Do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. So start with something and do that well. Find something that you can do. Invest in it. Pray over it. Staff it. Give towards it. And find a niche that meets a need in your community. We want our church and all churches. We also want our church to become a place we call mooring points of hope, where when the bottom drops out, that we have built so many relationships with people individually that they run to the church. Now, the church is the people. They're running to our people, and we want to be that kind of church.
It's huge. Robert Schuller, a name that some of you don't even know, but Dutch Reformed Crystal Cathedral. He used to say, find a need and meet it. Find a hurt and heal it. And I used to, yeah. I can imitate him, but every church needs to do. There are hurts all around you, plus individual. Okay, what ministries do we start as a church, and when do we combine with or partner with ministries already there?
There's no need. I would say this is where we landed. There are so many things that you can do. If someone else is doing it and doing it well, don't replicate it. There's no need to compete. If someone else has good VBS, or they're doing something in the community that's reaching homeless, or they're doing something in the community that's feeding people, if they're doing it well, join them. There's no reason to compete with them. But find something that you can do that no one else is doing, and then do it well. That's one of our values.
I agree with that very, very strongly. It's actually one of our values too. We value partnership and find a niche. Maybe oftentimes these needs arise from the people in your church. They'll get attached to something. Well, if that attachment works great, inner city kids, unwed moms, whatever it is, if that attachment works well, if you can find that community organization or parachurch ministry that is healthy and kind of within the parameters of where you need to be theologically, doctrinally, all those kind of things, then lock into that. And let me say this, guys, those organizations are usually starving for money and starving for volunteers. So even if you have a church of 30 to 50 people, a small church, the idea that you could bring 5 or 10, or that you would put them on your budget for $100 a month, that is fuel to their fire in 1,000 ways. They would lock onto that, and you would be an enormous blessing in those areas. So whenever you can partner. Now, sometimes you can start and it's a real blessing. So one of the things we did, for instance, with the heroin epidemic, is we started a community forum. And so we got the school, law enforcement, the judicial, the judges, even the FBI, and we called the meeting. And the whole community showed up. Well, we started that meeting. Now we're not going to be able to start all the rehabs that are needed and those kind of things, but we help to be a part of making the conversation pop. We did that in partnership, but we kind of said, we'll do it. So there are niches like that where the community has an angst and you can be a spark to it. Like us, we can't carry that whole ministry. Right. There's no way. But we can be a spark to it, and it's neat to see what comes out of it.
A really practical way, Newt and Jeff, is to find out what your needs are. And I hammer this. I tell my pastors, read the newspaper.
Yeah, watch the news.
And read your local news. You can watch it on your phone. You can read it. I still get a written subscription because I pray through my newspaper. I see businesses. I see things. I ask the Lord, bring things to mind. I'm praying through, giving the opportunity. But read your local newspaper. If you're the pastor of a local church and you haven't read your newspaper, then you really, in my mind, aren't really concerned in a way that God wants you to be about your community.
Yeah, and let me say that I read it on my phone. Jim reads a printed paper, which is funny. Newt goes and hears the town crier still. That's how he gets his news.
I do. They meet, and there were 4 of us there last week.
Yeah, it's amazing. The Herald let everybody know. But I actually read the local news before I preach.
Yeah, I do too.
I want to know what's on the heart and the mind of the community. I want to know what happened that morning because it's what's on people's minds.
Absolutely.
But you can get in the flow real quick. Meet with officials. We went recently and just sat down with one of our police chiefs and said, what do you know? Talk if you have police officers or firefighters or social workers in your church, they are teachers. They know what's going on. But you kind of make it a discipline to have your finger on the pulse a little bit of what's going on, and those needs will surface pretty quickly.
The other thing we just recently did, we took the phone book of Elkhart County. We have 150,000 people. In fact, it was just past Sunday. We tore the pages out of multiple pages so that people could get, and we, at the end of our service, each one of the people that came that day took a page of the phone book, and now they're praying through the phone book.
Wow,
that's
a great idea.
Every person in our county is being prayed for, and then we ask them, as the Spirit leads you, we want you to send a letter. There's an address there. Send a letter to this person. Say, hey, I was reading through my phone book. And they're going to wonder why, and the Lord brought you to mind. And I just prayed for you. Or call someone. So we are actively involved.
Whatever you do like that, you're saying to your people, we love this area.
Yeah.
We love these people. We believe the Great Commission starts here. Everybody, when I grew up in church, they'd say that, starting in Jerusalem and Judea.
Yeah.
And we were insulated from everything in the community. You were separatist. You went to church almost every day, or at least 3 out of 5. I know there's 7 in a week. Some of those mercy partners, or call them that you're partnering with, and make them official mercy partners or parachurch partners in your area. What can the pastor do personally? You guys do a lot. You've said some of those things. But you don't just go home. You care about where you live, too.
What's your passion? What are things that you like to do? Our children enjoyed sports. I coached them, coached teams. I coached a local junior high basketball team. I'm speaking at the sectional dinner, regional dinner of our local high school team. Find a niche, something that you do, and go do it with people in the community. Let them know who you are. Like a lot of people in the community know me as Coach Brown. A lot of people in the community know me as something other than Pastor Jim.
Good.
And those kind of things, show up at community events, take you and your kids and be involved, with the homeless or whatever it is that you're doing. I would say to you, every funeral home in the city ought to know who you are, and they ought to know that you'll do any funeral that's available. The police department ought to know who you are, and they ought to have your cell phone. And if they need help, if they need to do a death notification, you ought to do that. I still am a police chaplain, a SWAT team chaplain. And so it's just ingraining yourself, just finding your niche, whether it's sports or volunteer, whatever it is, just find a way that if you're hanging out with your church people all the time, you're spending your time wrong.
Get out of your offices. Listen, get out of your offices. Have staff meetings. We have them. We don't even have them in our building. We have them in local restaurants. Why? We pray for waitresses. We know the names. And even this Christmas, we found out we had Christmas offerings. Five different offerings went out to individuals. We found out there was a waitress, a grandma, who furnace didn't work. We took an offering for her furnace. get out in the community so they know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff, this is not something everybody can do, but the principle is. Tell about the gym, would you? How you've used a workout facility.
Yeah, so this is actually to brag on Heidi, my wife, a little bit. But my wife Heidi is a very competitive athlete in CrossFit. Maybe you've heard of that. It's kind of an exercise phenomenon right now. And what we did personally is the Bogue family opened a gymnasium because we realized that all of these 20-somethings were looking for community, and they would find it in this CrossFit. Heidi then took that, spiritualized it. We started a small group. We'll have 50, 60, 20-year-olds that I'm teaching the Bible to
awesome.
In and out of our house.
And they're called ABFs, by the way.
Yeah. We live stream our services there on Sunday. When we have competitions, we actually partner with local parachurch ministries to raise money for it. So it's a way that we integrate the faith community with the exercise community. So raising money for sex trafficking or famine relief or those kind of things. So we like to say it's not a Christian business, it's a business that's owned by Christians. But it was simply noticing a niche and saying, man, the gospel, I bet if we took the gospel there, it would flourish. And again, this is Heidi, my wife's vision, and it has worked. Because we just noticed something in our community and just took Jesus to that place.
And that's huge, and it's wonderful. But the same vision could have a person sitting at a coffee shop and,
right.
and realize a pastor who's known as the chaplain for the small
hunting club, a bowling team. Whatever your passion is, or whatever someone's passion is in the church, as a leader, I'm giving, this is the pastor's role, I'm giving vision to them. Take the gospel. Don't just play golf. Take the gospel. How do you do that? Get 4 or 5 guys who like to play golf from the church, and let's make that golf league that we then go join. Don't start a church league. Make the golf league then a mission field. And it's just thinking that way all the time.
A pastor I played ball with, a Lutheran guy, went to his local newspaper. So it's once a week. He said, can I write a column in there? They gave it to him.
Yeah.
So he's in there and he's reaching the community with a kind of a mood that is attractive.
Yeah.
We can all make a difference. Make a difference where you live. Help your people see this as you give illustrations that they can carry out because they represent the church. Someone wrote in a book about evangelism, the church is strongest when the lights are out and there are no cars in the parking lot.
That's right.
And he means you're teaching people and modeling, love the people around you. Well, do what you can, love the people in your church, but also help them get out there and start with you. Community, the church and the community. Thank you. Pastorpedia, Jeff Bogue, Jim Brown, Newt Larson, just trying to help. Thank you.